This is the Wait For It podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wait For It podcast. I'm your co-host, Phil Barrera, aka Phil the Filipino.
And I'm your other co-host, Mr. Eric Almighty, and for this edition of Creator Spotlight, we are bringing on a very special guest that Phil sought out, and when he brought this guest to my attention, and I heard a little bit about what this guest has going on, I was like, wow, this is a perfect compartment to the podcast that we've been missing. We're now getting that taken care of, and Phil, this gives you an excuse to talk more Jurassic, so I know you're in for a hell of a time.
Yeah, a game that has taken over my life, dating all the way back to the 2017 days as far as my comfort game, my fixation, which I'm sure is a word that will come up here a lot with our guest here today, as we are one of our first, I think, international guests as well when it comes to when it comes to Creator Spotlight. So very, very excited. The owner of the Evolution Square YouTube channel and a bunch of other projects as well, and Evo here this morning for joining us here on Creator Spotlight. Evo, thank you so much for taking the time, getting through some of the scheduling stuff, and joining us here today. How are you?
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the introduction. I'm very glad I don't have my camera on, because otherwise you'd see me blushing. Yeah, doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing so good, and very excited to again add your portion of your journey to Creator Spotlight. As I mentioned, before we got started, we've had artists on, we've had other content creators, we've had some voice actors on as well. But I believe, Eric, as you're kind of alluding to, this is our you're our first person that really concentrates on the YouTube portion of things, which we share a lot of things as far you talked about it, like not getting caught up in the algorithm and the statistics and all that comes with podcasting as well, is just to not pay attention to that, make the content that you want to create. And I really believe that you have done that as well. So very excited to talk about your journey here today with our audience. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody, if you need a reminder of where to find everything related to the Wait For It podcast and where you can keep up with Evo's work as well, make sure you stick around to the very end of the episode. We'll let you know where you can find all of that. But yeah, Evo, let's go ahead and get into it. Some people may not be as familiar with your work, so please just let us know a little bit about your channel, and also kind of how you got started with all the way back in the first Jurassic World Evolution, and then where you are now.
Yeah, you kind of already used one of my favorite words, which is fixation. You know me quite well. Yeah, Jurassic World Evolution became a hyperfixation for me, really, like you said as well, a comfort game, just really good escapism, excuse me. And started a YouTube channel for that, and kind of accidentally got a ball rolling there that I've just sort of been kicking further along the way all these past years to where the channel is now.
There's something, and I think you've talked about this before, there was something just really charming about that first Jurassic World Evolution game, because it is, the way that it released, it was a little all over the place, but I don't know, I poured so many hours, and this was before I had a gaming PC. I played it on PS4, and there was just something really charming about that original game, to kind of see it like where it is now and all the additions you've made. And you've gotten a little bit through your content creation, a little bit of a behind the scenes tour of how that evolution, no pun intended, has happened. So what do you think about the state of the game now, and where it kind of started as this really kind of starting from the beginning park builder type of game?
Yeah, it really started as a park builder in the most simplest form imaginable, and I do think there was a charm to that and a really big accessibility to casual gamers. At that point in time, I was very much a casual gamer, and it sort of sucked you in. And I think Frontier has done a good job in taking the game, a step further with Jurassic World Evolution 2, and now a step further with Jurassic World Evolution 3, offering at this point a much more in-depth park building experience. It's a much more complicated game, which I think a lot of the casual gamers are a bit scared of. Even I'm scared of it sometimes. But I think they've taken it in a really good creative direction and really responding to what the fan base wanted from the previous iterations.
Yeah, each game has, and that's of course what you want when it comes to, when a title is obviously, when an IP tied to Jurassic, you wonder what type of actual upgrades are we going to get? And like I can definitely say with confidence that each game has drastically improved between each one, and seems like as you've kind of you and other content creators have reported, like they're going to continue this series. So like excited for a couple of years of support for Jurassic World Evolution 3, and then like see what they can innovate going forward, as it does seem like they have a little bit more creative freedom now, like with some of the designs and some of the other things that are happening with the game. The workshop suite has been incredible to have access to, so that has been really, really great as well. But let's kind of back up a little bit as we kind of get to know you. I want to talk about really the Jurassic franchise in general. Jurassic Park, I actually saw in theaters, dating myself here. I saw in theaters, I was like 5 years old. It's one of my first core memories. So what is your relationship with this franchise as a whole, and where did you get started? What was the first film that you saw?
I don't even remember when I first saw the first Jurassic Park. Like, I was so young, it's in that area of your life that you don't have conscious memory of. So, yeah, no idea when I first saw it. I just know that I loved it right away. To join you, I will date myself as well. We had it on VHS and, just rewind back to the start over and over to rewatch it. And I do remember very viscerally, I will never forgive my parents for this, when the second one came out in theaters. I really wanted to see it in theaters, but I was still very young then. I was 6 years old, so... and they took my sister as like a test to go see it. My sister is a couple years older, so they were like, okay, let's see how she responds. And because my sister got scared, my parents didn't allow me to see that movie for years and years and years. And yeah, it's been a point of contention.
Sounds like you're over it.
Yeah, no, it's all fine. Water under the bridge, Mom, Dad.
Yeah, whenever I saw Jurassic, again, like I mentioned, it's one of my first memories. My mom was trying to like cover up my eyes during some of the scenes, and apparently like in the theater, I yelled like, "Stop trying to cover up my eyes!" and like the theater like laughed, like erupted in laughter. So again, one of my first theater going experiences. So yeah, Eric, it's been really interesting to see and we'll talk about where the franchise is now and how we all kind of feel about that. We all have kind of very similar feelings on what Jurassic is right now. But, obviously, Eric, when it comes to a tentpole franchise, it's like, man, there is so much here that you could focus on. We're here where we are now,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's one of those iconic franchises. Phil has mostly been the Jurassic Park guy. I grew up more as a Star Wars guy, but everyone finds that fandom that they really, really enjoy. And it sounds like that was one entryway for you to kind of get into this journey of content creation. So, Evo, I wanted to ask, obviously the dinosaur relation, we talked a little bit about that, but on the gaming side of things, did you ever think you'd end up in this position where you're basically owning the corner of the universe of park building and content creation for like a game like Jurassic World? Is gaming in general something that you've had a passion for, or something maybe you stumbled upon with your love of Jurassic as well?
That's very strong language. I disagree with that, but I did game a lot when I was younger, like through to my early 20s, and it was a lot of creative games like Zoo Tycoon, Sims, Roller Coaster Tycoon, that sort of area. And then when you get to the point where you have to make ends meet, you have to make rent and really put so much energy into that, I kind of let go of gaming. And then just completely randomly stumbled upon Jurassic World Evolution in 2018 through the Gaming Beaver getting recommended to me. And I guess my brain just sort of latched on like, yes, I've been missing this. But no, there was no plan to occupy a corner of the market.
Well, listen, it's not a bad thing at all. And I figured, especially with your following and a lot of the content, I mean, you put really great content. And Phil, I'm assuming that's what really led you to wanting to get our guest on today. But It's just really exciting to kind of see everyone's journey and their individualness in that journey. And this is such a unique one, Phil, that I'm really glad we're getting to discuss today.
Yeah, and Eva, listen, don't cut yourself short. I obviously, when it comes to, especially in this space, when it comes to the Jurassic World Evolution community, you are a very, very big part of that. And finding your content really kind of unlocked a new way that I approach like building parks. Again, before some of your videos, it was all about, man, I got to fill all this space with as many exhibits as possible, you know. And then it kind of adjusted me between you and Gaming Beaver and Best in Slot. Adjusted like, oh no, this is supposed to be like an actual zoo. You know, I need to approach it like a zoo. So like all of those tips and tricks help so many people. And then once I moved over, finally got a PC and got a little bit more freedom as well, and then got into the modding a little bit. You know, it was just like finding a whole new game, which is really, really cool. So yeah, and I will. She's not here. She's at a friend's house, but I will say my daughter watches your videos all the time. She's 18 now, and she has credited you a lot with the way that she builds too. So you gotta, you've done a lot for a lot of people.
That's so nice. That makes me really happy. Honestly, that means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, just to, mentioned it here just a moment ago as far as the current state of the franchise. A lot of people here have a lot of similar feelings as far as the first Jurassic Park. Jurassic World seemed to be like a little bit of a return to form, and then some of the ones that are in between are a little all over the place. And I believe, if I remember correctly, you're not the biggest fan of Camp Cretaceous either. Is that correct? Do I remember that correctly?
No, Camp Cretaceous did not really resonate with me.
Yeah.
I can't really put a finger on it. Why? Because I feel like I should like it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's something just about it. Maybe it's like the uncanny valley of the animation that just doesn't work for me. But yeah, I've never even finished watching Chaos Theory.
Yeah, no, me neither. We have watched my daughter and I have watched all of Camp Cretaceous. We did start, I believe we're on the final season of Chaos Theory, but we have not finished. Eric, you had a similar thing too, where how much of Chaos Theory did you guys get into? You and your son, not much, right?
Midway through season 2, I was like, yeah, I'm just not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying this a lot. And Camp Cretaceous had its problems, but there was enough goodwill that it was building up with some of the cool things they were doing with the dinosaurs specifically, I thought. And I liked enough of the characters that I stuck with Camp Cretaceous till the end. But Chaos Theory, I didn't really understand the purpose of going that route other than just let's keep doing it. And it very much felt that way by season 2. I was like, oh, okay, it kind of feels like a money grab, which unfortunately is kind of Jurassic's thing right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because for so long we were like, man, I would love other media within the Jurassic universe, and then you get Camp Cretaceous, and then there's Battle at Big Rock, and you're like, all right, we're cooking, and then they just kind of like stuck with the Camp Cretaceous group, so I'm very interested to see like what happens after that. But yeah, what is your thoughts on? I watched the video as far as the most recent film, which the name of it is Rebirth. Like, what? Yeah, see, I have pushed that film out of my mind.
How could you forget? It opens up with the Snickers scene. Like, that's iconic.
It was also like top 15 highest grossing film of all time.
They show in the history of Jurassic, they're going to show the Brontosaurus scene, and then right after is going to be the Snickers scene. I mean, come on now.
Please don't do that.
You're hurting my feelings right now.
So I have a lot of similar things where it's like, I will go see Jurassic. I'm going to go watch the dinosaur designs I thought were really cool. Loved the Spinosaurus design, loved the Mosasaur, loved a lot of that. But then, of course, you mentioned, the writing and like where we're at now when it comes to this series. What are we doing? Where are you at? Because I'm sure like Eric and I, you will be seated for the next one. We'll go see it. But like, where are we going now with this franchise? And what do you think? And if you would like to share your thoughts on Rebirth, you can as well.
Yeah, I have no idea where they're going to take it from here. I said it recently, like, and you say it as well, like, I'll always show up because there's always at least a couple of scenes that I'm going to be like, wow, that's a cool dinosaur scene. I enjoyed that. So, I got my quote-unquote money's worth out of it, whatever. I'm not going into it with great expectations. And I am in the camp of, and this is a bit contentious, but I am in the camp of, yeah, fine, just keep making them because a broken clock is right twice a day. So maybe by accident, they'll nail it again and they make a good movie again. Who knows? But that is the mindset that I have right now. If if something great's gonna happen, I almost feel like it's gonna be by accident.
That's kind of how Marvel is right now, right? Like that we were like, maybe this one will be good. Like we hope that Doomsday is good. We hope that the new Spider-Man is good. And every once in a while, right, Eric, like we get a Shang-Chi or something that we really, really enjoy. And then, you know, other times we don't. So yeah, it's kind of like throwing a throwing a dart at a dartboard right now and seeing what happens. But yeah, man, it was Rebirth is something that we definitely wrote off. Unfortunately, pretty early, even though again we were seated opening weekend.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, I'm very curious, Evo, if you're feeling what I'm feeling with Star Wars, which, you know, me and Phil have been very open about, like, I was consuming so much Star Wars content at one time, and then as my love for it started to wane, and unfortunately that started to happen around the time some people felt that way about Jurassic. Like, Jurassic World and The Force Awakens for Star Wars both came out, and while they weren't wholly original, they did kind of breathe some new life into the franchises. And then for some reason, they took that formula and said, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to try something else. And the sequels of those initial films just kind of fell flat for a lot of audiences. So I know for me, I've been feeling a lot of fatigue. And I know you handle so much Jurassic content. How do you deal with the common fatigue of dealing with that much fandom, that much of one singular franchise, enjoying the things that you love about it, but also fighting against the things that you don't? Like, how do you battle that fatigue that obviously comes with this much consumption of one thing in pop culture?
I think both my strength and weakness is that I don't fatigue very quickly. I am the type of person who watches stuff over and over and over and enjoys it every single time. So yeah, I still get all of the enjoyment out of the movies in the franchise that I do like. Obviously, the gaming franchise around it, and yeah, I'm not emotionally invested anymore in like the future of the movies. You know, if there's obviously there's another one coming, and I'm always going to be there, and I'm always going to have some excitement. But you know, it's not going to devastate me if it doesn't deliver what the very first one did, because I don't expect it to. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just along for the ride, I guess, and I still love the parts of it that I've always loved.
No, that's fair. I mean, that kind of explains why, you know, for a lot of people, the nostalgia works in going back to that well sometimes, because, Phil, I mean, you are the same way. I mean, I'm sure you've watched the first Jurassic Park 1,000 times, and you've got 1,000 more times to watch it as well. So, I mean, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, that is a really good point, and it is a kind of a interesting way, and maybe a way that a lot of people should also look at it in terms of, you know, obviously we're still emotionally attached. We're always going to be emotionally attached to the franchise because of what it means to us and our lives. But yeah, not expecting them to strike lightning strike twice, like with Jurassic Park, and then again with to an extent with Jurassic World, is probably unrealistic. And again, just to go back to the Marvel thing, it's like now that, you know, we've gotten to Endgame, right, Eric? That's where all of our emotional ties were what the story they were telling in Endgame, and now everything else is just like, yeah, I'll go see them, but like, who knows what's going to happen going forward. But that's a really good way to look at it, you know, continuing to support, but also just being like, yeah, we get what we get here as far as going forward. But I talked about this a little bit earlier, you know, because I mentioned Camp Cretaceous, Battle of Big Rock. Like, I think a lot of fans are really starving for content within this universe, but like is just focused away from some of the stories that we've gotten, some of the repeated stories, or maybe not delivering on some of the promises that we thought we were going to get in like Dominion or Fallen Kingdom. So you kind of took that and ran with it on your own with the audiobook that you released recently. I've listened to about 3.5 hours of it. I'm almost done.
My condolences.
No, it's very, very good, and it is exactly like why people are clamoring for something else within the Jurassic universe. So like, what led you to do this? I know this was a passion project of yours. What led you to finally go through it? And I voice act as well with the podcasting, so I know recording an audiobook and editing it is a lot of work. So condolences to you for doing all of that work. So what made you take that leap? Why did you want to finally jump into it? And also, why do you hate that one specific family so much by making them go through so much?
valid call out. It really started as a joke. It first leaked that with Rebirth, it leaked in like one message. One, they're going back to an island, and two, they're gonna have 3 child characters. And both of those things, I was like, why exactly? That's so formulaic. That's so been done to death. What happened to dinosaurs in our world? So I kind of just made like a joke short story slash. I think I wrote out one of the scenes, but like as a joke, like, oh, you want a kid character and his parents have to be divorced and blah blah blah, like all of these like parody elements, but yeah, within the promise of dinosaurs in our world. And then I accidentally sort of liked it and started writing it out more seriously and incorporating, just stuff that I want to see in the movie franchise, some unmined gems from the original novels, the promises that I felt they didn't deliver on with the whole dinosaurs in our world angle, and just wrote a story with like a shopping list of the things I want to see.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, I know how difficult it is to voice multiple characters and also portray what is going on through audio storytelling. So the fact that, again, that you even attempted it, that a lot of people wouldn't even ever do that. And obviously there's fan fiction with all of our franchises, right, Eric? So that, that's not necessarily anything that's new, but to go the extra mile and then again, put the passion project out there, regardless of how we're always our most like hardened critics, right? When you put that out there, you're wondering what people are going to think about it. And, a lot of the comments are definitely very, very positive. I'm, very excited to see. I know that you're going to be releasing another project here in 2026, so excited to hear that. But it is something that's like, just to kind of keep going back to Battle of Big Rock, and then also this project's like, yes, this is what we want. Let's steer away from, again, like you mentioned, why is there a family of 4 in in Jurassic World Rebirth? Why are they running around, this whole time unscathed, and able to get away from these incredibly dangerous situations? So, like, there is so much there. Just like Eric, when we talk about, Skywalker fatigue, it's a whole universe. Like for Jurassic, it's a whole world. There are other things to talk about. So, like, again, whenever somebody does take that initiative and put something out there that they're passionate about, I think that's a lot of fun. So I think maybe we need to dive into more fan fiction, Eric. Maybe it will give us what we're looking for from other franchises as well. It
might. Again, definitely a lot of passion behind that. The top comment that I found, like, clicking on it, was writing and recording over 5 hours of audio for a passion project is truly insane. Really shows how much you love this franchise. And Evo, obviously, you talked about like how much you hold on to the nostalgia and the love of this franchise, which has led to you making not only YouTube content, but again, like an audiobook. What are some of the things that like really inspire you to continue doing that? Obviously, you have that love for the franchise, but to go that extra mile, that extra little mile that other people wouldn't. Me and Phil will come up with fan theories here, but we would never go through a process like you did to make that come to life. I don't think we have that creative bone in our body. So what inspires you to get that creativity out and to create that outlet? And then maybe what's one of the biggest challenges that you're still dealing with that you have to overcome? Locally here, we recently had a meeting in Jacksonville where we had a lot of creators talk about burnout and some fatigue there in regards to having to make those posts, having to edit the content. So again, what is your inspiration for this creative outlet? And what are the challenges or the biggest challenge that you face today?
Wow, that's a big question. I mean, for the audiobook specifically, writing is something I've always done, but it is something that, YouTube takes up so much time that I don't have time for anything else. So I sort of also felt like writing something for the Jurassic franchise was like a good excuse for me to like get myself to spend time on it, to justify spending time on it. And yeah, then it was just a case of applying like the writing stuff that I always liked doing anyway. Yeah, and also to take that step to make it into an audiobook as opposed to just posting it on, a fan fiction website where it belongs, honestly. That also went into, the justification of it. Like, oh, it's okay that I spent 9 months on this because it's for the channel, Evo. It's okay, it's for the channel. Don't feel guilty, it's fine. You're not wasting your time. Even though obviously I was. But yeah, that's just a way that I mentally allowed myself to spend this much time on something outside of YouTube, really.
Yeah, and do you find yourself like running into some of those issues where like you came up with an idea and it didn't quite work and maybe you had to drop it, or you spent a little bit too much time on it, maybe you were procrastinating? Do you end up having like any of those moments with how much content you're creating, in this big gigantic world of content that we all live in?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Again, with the audiobook, like with the sequel, procrastinated on that a long time, but also with just building something in Jurassic World Evolution. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work out the way you had envisioned it. You run into the limits of your own skill and creativity, and it's disheartening. And you have to just get over that, I guess. And sometimes I do just like let go of a project and start over, or a build at least. And I always try to remind myself that, even though it is my job, it is still a game. We are still playing a game. It is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to feel like homework. It's not supposed to feel like I'm at university studying architecture. At the end of the day, it's just a game. I should be fun. Other people should be having fun and just sharing that, and not overinflate the importance of the outcome of something.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice, Phil, for a lot of people that could use that, especially people that we usually interact with that have a lot of those same struggles, which is, such a nice parallel for conversations we've had in the past.
Yeah, and we had that recently for to give you a little insight, Evo. Up until about 2023, 2024, we were releasing 2 episodes a week. We were doing some solo episodes. We were doing the episodes we do now. And it got to a point where we were like, are we enjoying this? Because it did start to feel like work. So it is very important to like redirect when you need to, because yes, we want this to be our full-time job as well, but we also do want it to be fun. And if it does ever reach the point where that it's not that, then a different conversation needs to be had. So we trimmed it down and we saw the results. So like it's really good advice to just, again, for a lot of people, no matter what portion of their journey they're in, to like remind themselves, hey, you're doing this because you want to enjoy it. So
yeah my philosophy on it has been, if I'm not having fun, then I might as well go back to the 9 to 5 and get that security, and just knowing that your paycheck is gonna be reliable every single month. I might as well go back to that if I'm not doing this to have fun with it. So that's just something that you always have to just take it back to. Like, this is the dream job, so let's actually, enjoy it.
100%. Yeah. To kind of transition into some of the other pop culture things that you're into, we'd love to talk to you about that as well. The reason that I actually was like, man, I think Eva would be a really good guest because we'd have a lot to talk about. I found Next to Normal for the first time in 2025.
Oh my god!
And I was watching a video on YouTube, and like you were one of the top comments on the YouTube video of the performance of, I think it was I'm Alive or maybe something else. And I was like, oh, I know who that is. And that's actually how I had gotten to like remind you or reach out to you via Twitter, like, oh, hey, by the way, I emailed you about this, because you had like posted, it was like Jack Wolf with oh my gosh, with Ian Malcolm with why am I blanking
Jeff
on?
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. Jeez, it's early. So, but yeah, they were a picture of them together. I was like, what a crazy crossover between those two. And I know you also mentioned, I think, in our conversation on Twitter, that you have also gotten to see the show in person, which I'm incredibly jealous about. I'm hoping that we get some sort of that revival over here, because I watched the PBS Pro shot over here, and it's outstanding. So yeah, so talk about like why that show resonates with you so much, and are there any other musicals, plays, anything like that you really like? So we're called the Wait For It podcast because we're named after the song Wait For It in Hamilton. So that is what our origin story is. So yeah, talk about a little Next to Normal and like why you would recommend it to people, and also are there any other shows that you really, really enjoy?
It's always so funny that you saw my comment on a YouTube video. It's so funny when I like leave a comment on a random thing that I like, and I'll get a notification and someone is like, "Oh my god, Evo Square, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Whoa, this is crossing the event horizon. What is happening right now?" Yeah, next to normal. God. So Jack Wolf I saw in Shadow and Bone, and I really liked his character there. It's not explicit in Shadow and Bone, but the character is autistic, and I'm autistic. And I just felt very happy with how that was portrayed. So I sort of latched onto the actor and got interested in his next project, which was Next to Normal. And yeah, I looked up the Wikipedia. God, Wikipedia mentioned in 2026. I looked up the Wikipedia description for what the plot for Next to Normal was, and it like made me sick to my stomach, and that was like, oh, I have to see it. I have to see it for real. So at that point, it was playing at the Donmar, which is a really small theater with limited tickets, but they do like daily release tickets where if you're lucky, you get a ticket. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give that a go. I got a ticket, so then I was like, well, now I gotta get my ass to London. And yeah, did that. And it was just such a heart-wrenching show, and yeah, just really, you know, the way it so shamelessly explores a character with mental health issues that would normally be like, you know, shoved to the sidelines. Yeah, it was just it's just a really powerful show, I think. So I went back several times to go see it. And cry.
Yeah, it is a show. Now, I listen to the music all the time, whether it be, you know, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever that is. But it's a show that I probably only watch maybe once a year, just because, again, of how heavy it is. But it is something that I recommend to everybody. I did watch it. After I watched it myself the first time, I then watched it again with my sister and my daughter. And they were like, how dare you do this to us, because it is an incredibly heavy show, and it's so great that PBS has that one shot on there. For those of you that are interested in seeing it, you only have to donate a minimum of $5 to PBS, and then you'll have access to a lot of their one shots, not just that as well. But yeah, it is outstanding, and that is, I actually came across an Instagram reel of the I'm Alive performance by Jack Wolf. I was like, what is this? Who is this guy? I almost say kid, but he's a grown adult. But
yeah, he's 30. It's shocking.
Yeah. So that's the first clip that I saw of that show. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I did a deep dive, found more on YouTube, and went through that. So it is an outstanding show. I've been imploring Eric and his family to watch it as well. What about some other shows? Anything else outside of Next to Normal that you really like, whether it be something recent or even some classics?
The classics, well, not a classic, but since you mentioned it, I was really there for every single first showing of all of the Marvel movies up until Endgame. That's where I was like, okay, from now on it's optional viewing. Thank you. God, what else? I'm a very obsessive personality. Like, I'll like one thing and I'll just be really devoted to it. And for Jurassic, you know, that's a constant. That's always there. But then with other stuff, I just sort of cycle through, you know, one year it's one thing, the next year it's another. Right now, and this, I don't think this is your area, I don't think this is your demographics area, but right now it's Heated Rivalry, which I just think is a really well-made show. I don't think it's getting enough credit for just being a really well-made show. So
yeah, a lot of people like that.
Yeah, so many people have recommended. I need to check it out. So we already have our first like sleeper thing of 2026 where people are like, you should watch Heated Rivalry. I'm like, okay, what is it? So yeah,
I'm continuing to spread the agenda. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing right now. I really like the Avatar movies. I'm sorry, I am that mainstream. I'm that easy to please.
No, you're amongst a colleague here in Eric.
Oh, good.
Listen, Phil hates the Avatar movies. I think, Phil, you've never even watched the second one. You only watched the
first one.
Yeah, you've only watched the first one. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I will say I didn't enjoy Fire and Ash as much as the first two. So I think, I kind of see some of the complaints and some of the things that people like really dog on it for. But I mean, it's such a theatrical experience.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's the biggest thing that I keep going back for.
I haven't seen Fire and Ash yet because, like I said, I'm in my obsessive cycle for Heated Rivalry right now, so I'm sort of waiting for that to pass. But with Avatar, like I've always seen the criticism and I understand and agree with them, but at the same time, it's just so bombastic and just visually awesome that I just have a good time with it. So yeah, it's one of those movies that you always have to defend liking, but I'm not saying it's the greatest movie ever made. I'm just saying I have fun watching it.
Just absolute cinema. That's it. Yeah. It's just a meme.
Listen, I have no room to talk because my guilty pleasure franchise is Fast and the Furious, and arguably only maybe two of them are good. And I go to Fast and the Furious for the same reason you guys go watch Avatar. So I literally have no reason to. I can't sit on a pedestal or anything like that.
I like Fast and Furious too, but only the first one is great, and then as with every franchise, you sort of just take the rest with a grain of salt.
I really enjoy Tokyo Drift. It actually might be my favorite one. And then Fast 6, I think, is the one that's also pretty good. Whichever one had like the first bank heist, where you're like, yeah, I can, I guess, buy this.
The safe across the street?
Yeah, the safe through the streets. I was like, okay, I'm on board. And then they went to space, and I'm like, okay, maybe now. I saw I don't think it was the last one, it was the previous Fast in IMAX because they were showing the trailer for Dominion the extended cut. Remember there was like the extended cut to Dominion. They played that before Fast, and I brought a friend of mine who does not watch the Fast movies, and like right in the middle of the movie, he looks at me, he goes, "I hate you so much, Phil." He was so mad that I had brought him to Fast and the Furious. I was like, I'm having a good time, man. But it was those movies. We'll see if the Avatar franchise finishes before we get to the final Fast and the Furious movie, because they might not even make it because it's going to cost so much money. Who knows what's going to happen there? But listen, I get it. The Avatar franchise isn't necessarily for me, but listen, they're people are going to the movie theater in droves, and you know what? Keep getting people to go to the movie theater. That's all I care about too. So. Yeah. We need to keep that up. So
yeah. And Evo, I wanted to ask as well, since we're kind of on the topic, we did talk about you mentioned several recent things that have kind of you've gotten that obsession about, but you also have focused on again that nostalgia carrying you even now in 2026, and you'll go to rewatch stuff. So I'm curious on that aspect. If you're not watching Jurassic for the 10,000th time, what are you putting on from maybe back in the day? Is there anything that even reaches the heights of that for you? And if it is, what is it?
Well, definitely nothing reaches that same level. Oh, God. I'm learning so much about myself. I really am a very singular-minded person because, God, what do I watch? I really don't know. This is one of those things. You know when someone asks you, like, what's your favorite movie? And you have, like, two answers ready, and then you forget every single other movie you've ever watched in your entire life. I feel like that right now.
It's tough. Well, it's so much content to consume, but I know Phil is. I've kind of moved on in the digital age. Phil is very much the physical collector. So, is there? If you're the same in any way, do you have an item from a franchise that makes you think, man, I want to go check that out again? Or maybe it's a DVD sitting somewhere that you look at and you're like, man, if I had a free 2 hours, I'd check that out. Is there anything at all, even one thing, that you've kind of stumbled upon recently that you're like, man, I really enjoyed that, and I want to maybe check that out again?
Well, the only thing that comes to mind right now is because this happens literally every single time, but someone used a GIF or GIF, whatever your preference is, of Lord of the Rings, and every single time I see Lord of the Rings pop up, I'm like, okay, I need to set aside a weekend to rewatch that. That's the one thing that always comes up.
That's a big one. Are you an extended cut watcher?
Oh, yes. Not for first viewing. I see people make this mistake. If you're trying to get people still on board with Lord of the Rings, don't make them sit through the extended cut the first time. Lure them in with the theatrical release, and then do the extended cut. But yeah, that's one of the few DVDs that I still have, actually, because I went through like a deep cleanse of possessions. But I have the box set, which comes with like 9 hours of behind the scenes stuff as well, and it's all just brilliant. I love that stuff. That's something, by the way, I always love behind the scenes stuff for movies. I find that so interesting, like the whole process behind that, and that like every little thing in terms of, you know, costuming and location scouting, like all of that stuff is so interesting.
Yeah, I used to be a big behind the scenes like extras guy. Whenever you put the DVD in and they had the extras section,
Bring that back, man.
They don't do that enough.
Bring that
you
back.
know?
Bloopers, all that. I want it all.
That's the biggest loss of like the streaming culture, that we don't get that anymore.
Yeah. Well, to put myself on blast here, I am one of the people who has never seen Lord of the Rings.
Oh my god.
And you were the second person. Remember, Jessica Kavanaugh told this exact same thing at dinner. She said, don't watch the extended cut first, because they are releasing the extended cut in theaters this year. They're re-releasing all of them in theaters. And she's like, don't go see that. Do not go see the extended cut. Watch the original. So I last year was my goal to watch all three. Didn't do it. So now I've rolled that over into 2026. I tell this story because I've never seen Lord of the Rings. I did pee in the urinal next to Elijah Wood, though. So it's like I feel like
That's basically the same.
Like I have been closer to Lord of the Rings than a lot of people. So, you know, that's what I hold on to for now.
Yeah, you felt like a hobbit, you know, immediately. So.
You owe it to Elijah now.
Yeah, we were just like clocking in. I was like, "Hey, what's going?" I didn't talk to him at the urinal.
Also,
don't do that. By the way, don't do that.
I eat 2 breakfasts, so you know.
So that is on my to-do list here this year. Finally, will it happen? I hope so. There are a lot of things that I have not partaken in, but Lord of the Rings is near the top of that list as far as that. I don't know, Eric, if that is ever a late to the party suggestion that we need to do, because I know you've seen it, but I have not. So that would be something.
I've seen them multiple times. Return of the King is very good. Like I do like Fellowship and I like Two Towers, but like the nostalgia that people feel about Lord of the Rings as a whole is what I feel about Return of the King. Like I very much enjoyed that third movie. That's a top 50 movie I've ever seen in my life for sure. So yeah, and it won a lot of awards. It's very, very, you know, positive. And then I was like, yeah, I'll go watch The Hobbit, and we all know how that turned out. Yeah, don't watch that trilogy. Nope. That one is tough. There was some good stuff about it. Like I like Smaug, like the dragon or whatever that Benedict Cumberbatch played. Yep. You know, I like Martin Freeman in the lead role, but yeah, that thing, you could feel it got stretched out, where with the original Lord of the Rings, you could tell there was stuff on the cutting room floor. I have not seen the extended cuts, so if we do that episode, Phil, that will probably be the direction I take to refresh myself and to also experience something a little new.
Yeah, it's, again, something that I need to dive into finally here on my end. Well, what about anything else that you, as far as anything else that maybe you collect? You know, you said you kind of moved on from a lot of, maybe you did a little bit of a cleansing, got rid of some stuff, but anything else that you collect, own? So like, you know, if I'm moving away from, like, as you can see in the background, like the Funko Pops, and I want to kind of transition more into actual figures, so I want to add some Jurassic stuff, some anime stuff, some movie stuff as well. I've got my, if you can see back here, my giant Barbasol can that's signed by Wayne Knight back here.
Jealous.
It was actually a shoebox, so it came with the shoes that Reebok released. So that's why it's so large. But I got him to sign that, so that's really cool. Anything that you collect or anything like that? I believe, if I recall correctly, you're a Lego person, right?
Yep. I have an extensive Lego collection at this point that survived the cleanse.
Do you have a favorite set that either you've done, or is there a Grail set that you want to get? You know, a lot of people, you see a lot of reels about the Millennium Falcon, right? What's your Millennium Falcon?
I don't have... Well, it's not the same, because I know like the Millennium Falcon is like this huge thing, but there was an old Wall-E Lego set that they did that I really wanted, but that was like $400 in the aftermarket, and I was like, no, don't do it. And I'm so glad I didn't, because they recently released a new version of it, so I got that for like $60, like retail. yay for me. But yeah, I do have, I have the big Titanic. I'm looking at it right now. It's like right in front of me. So I guess that's like my prized possession. But in terms of my favorite sets, they recently released the classic Game Boy. And it's so good. It's actually insane.
Well, you brought up Titanic, so another James Cameron property there. So I think we're seeing a trend. But Evo, now I have to ask the age-old question. Could Jack be on the door? Could Jack stay on the door? Did Rose let him go? What is your hot take on that?
Are you trying to get me canceled? What is this?
Listen, we're going for clickbait. This will be it.
Okay. I mean, I feel like you have to go with a movie's internal logic, right? And in the movie, they demonstrate that when he climbs on, the door tips over. So the internal logic of the movie is that he couldn't. I mean, I would have tried a couple more times just to be sure, but okay. So I'm not mad about it.
They couldn't have taken shifts. Like we trade off here.
I feel like they should have done like a solid couple of rounds of rock, paper, scissors to figure this one out, but
listen, we will hopefully never be in a position in the middle of the ocean where our cruise liner goes down. But it just feels like there would have been something else to do that. So one of the last questions we'll ask here, Evo, as we wrap up. Again, this has been so much fun. It's been great to hear a little bit more about your story, but also get into the pop culture stuff. I'm just curious because I'm one of those people who watches a ton of YouTube. Of course, that's how I found your channel. I do Best in Slot as well, a little bit of Gaming Beaver too. Are there any channels on YouTube, even in your free time, if you have any? Are there any other channels that you watch, or any other creators that either inspire you or that you just enjoy?
I don't really watch or follow specific creators. It's more so specific genres that I go into. So like I said, I like the behind the scenes of movies, and I also like people analyzing movies. So, people who do like those long video essays about movies and, what the symbolism is of this shot and how it parallels this other shot, like that sort of stuff. But it's very much reliant on the whims of the algorithm, what it recommends me. So it's not like a specific creator where I'll be like, okay, I'll watch all of their takes. It's really just the type of content.
Yeah, I am very similar as far as I follow the algorithm. I do a lot of also those film breakdowns. I do a lot of why did this movie fail? Why wasn't this movie successful? A lot of behind the scenes stuff like that. I find that very, very fascinating. My thing that Eric does not understand is terrarium builds. So like I follow Ants Canada and some other people that build terrariums from scratch because it's something that I can't do. So I just like watching other people do that, and Eric just does not understand my fixation when it comes to that particular part of YouTube.
I don't get it, but I'm glad you enjoy it.
I do, though.
Very relaxing. Yeah, it's very relaxing, and again, it's a skill that I could not, even if I wanted to learn, I couldn't do. So I love that portion of YouTube.
Can't stay seated for 3 hours of Avatar, but you'll watch endless hours of ants. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because I could watch 3 videos about ants in the time frame of one Avatar film. So really,
I get that. I had the same thing. Well, not the exact same thing. That would be weird. But there was like a period where I was watching a lot of woodworking videos. Just people making tables and shit. It's just really interesting to see the craft that goes into that.
Listen, this is another part of my algorithm. I will watch a video about a particular city and state that I do not live in or have been to, how they fixed traffic in that area.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's fascinating. I really enjoy why a specific type of a specific type of franchise or something failed. I all that stuff is just really interesting to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, same.
So Eric, I'll send you some.
No, you don't have to do that.
I got you covered. So yeah, I do watch a lot of that, a lot of content on YouTube. Again, it's also good stuff to put on in the background. But it is a portion of content creation, Eric, that, obviously we upload the videos to YouTube, but it's still something we're still trying to figure out. So it's been really fascinating to learn about your journey here, Evo, and thank you so much for sharing it. Eric, anything else you want to cover before we wrap up here for the episode?
Honestly, pretty great things that we've talked about. It's been a lot of fun. Evo, I guess I'll kind of leave you with this. We're still very much early on into 2026 when this episode releases, so there's still a lot left on the table for the rest of the year. Is there maybe one big milestone that you're looking to achieve? Something you've either shared with your followers or something, if you don't want to get too much into detail, you can be a little bit vague, but is there something at the very least that you're aiming to achieve this year that's that top thing on your checklist?
I have 3 things, and I don't have to be vague because it's not secretive. I'm hoping that we're gonna surpass the 400,000 this year. That's not really something I'm working towards. It's just something that sort of happens by accident, but it's a happy accident. So I'd like to check that off. I want to do that audiobook sequel, and something that, but this comes with the caveat. This has been my intention every year. So again in 2026, I want to have some sort of regularity in my upload schedule. And I keep failing that, and the reason for that is, and that's probably why it'll always fail, but I have to inspiration comes at random times, and I don't want to upload something for the sake of uploading it because it's Wednesday and you have to upload. But hopefully at one point I can get into a rhythm where you can deliver something at least every Friday or something, so people know, oh, today I have something from Evo to watch while I do the dishes or something.
Yeah, those are great goals to set. Again, it's been really, really cool to see the channel grow and the different content that you have begun to put out. So very excited to see what is coming for you in the future. So please, as we kind of wrap up here this episode, let everybody know where they can find your content. Of course, everything will also be in the show notes of this episode, but let everybody know where they can find you going forward and keep up with everything you're doing in 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, if you search up Evolution Square, I'm sure I'll pop up. I'm sorry. But if you're interested in Jurassic World Evolution and some peripheral movie stuff as well, then I hope people will check out the channel and get some distraction. Consider it putting on a woodworking video in the background. It's that sort of thing. I do have to ask you though, Eric, I'm the curiosity is getting to me now. There's really nothing that you put on in the background as you're doing something, just to sort of occupy your mind?
I'm a lo-fi guy, so I'll put some. I'm a music person, so I will always, and Phil knows this. I honestly can't function in silence unless there's music. So I have that similarity, but Phil knows if I try to, and I've tried. I have a second monitor. I'm looking right above my main monitor. I have tried to put something on there while I'm working and doing stuff. I just can't. I especially when it comes to films and videos. I really like to give it my full my full attention, and I like to really digest it. And I just end up finding myself rewinding, oh, what happened there? What did I miss? And then I'll just find myself disengaged and disinterested. So yeah, Phil's very much more he'll listen to a podcast, and we run a podcast. You run a YouTube channel. You are literally catering to people who may be having it on while they do dishes. Yeah. Even though I make content like that, I just don't have the brain function to consume it like that. And I have tried. It has not been for a lack of trying.
Okay, well, that's more relatable than that you at least have music on.
Yeah, no, definitely.
He's not just sitting there in silence.
Yeah, just complete.
Yeah. I'm just oh, this
complete
what a great day.
Focus.
He actually does not leave this room. He actually just sits right here all the time in silence until we have another episode to record.
Yeah, I just turn around and I just look at the background. What a nice wall.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I will have Jurassic World Evolution on this screen, and then I'll have Audacity up editing on the other, and I can do both at the same time, which really does baffle Eric. So
I can't edit and watch stuff at the same time because you have to listen to yourself, unfortunately. But I cannot build without having something on the second monitor. there's a part of my brain that needs to be like fully shut off, and the only way to do that is to sort of throw stuff at it.
Yeah, no, totally get that. And like Eric mentioned, I'm a big podcast listener. I've been listening to the audiobook as well while doing other things. But I understand like where Eric is coming from, but also it's like, man, I always have to be doing. If I'm not doing like multiple things at once, I do sometimes feel like I could be doing more. You know, I could be doing other, like getting more work done than what I just have in front of me. So good, really good questions. And everything related to Evo will be in the show notes of this episode. So thank you so much for, again, taking the time, for being accommodating with our schedule as well. Of course, different time zones and all that. It's been a blast having you here. Anything else? Any other projects you want to plug before we wrap up?
No shameless plug. Just want to say thanks so much for having me on. It's been a really fun conversation. Yeah, thank you guys for also working around my schedule.
Yeah, of course. Well, this has been great. Hope to work with you again in the future. For those of you that are new to the podcast, maybe you found us through Evo, or maybe you're just a returning listener as well. We thank you again for the continued support. Make sure to click the Linktree link in the show notes of this and every single episode. You can support us multiple ways. You can head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, give us 5-star reviews. One of the best ways you can support the show. Follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok. Join our growing Discord community. Also follow us on Twitch, where we stream each and every single week. There'll be updates to that schedule here pretty soon, but continue to also follow Eric on his personal Twitch channel. He streams twice a week, and then also make sure to continue following me as I navigate my voice acting journey here through 2026 and beyond. But if you find yourself wanting to get episodes a little early or participate in some of the content that we're going to be releasing here very, very soon, Eric will let you know a little bit more about that before wrapping us up.
Yeah, all the free stuff that takes nothing but your time is much appreciated. But if you want to go beyond and show us a little bit more love, you can join our Patreon. We're patrons of the show: Briar, T3 Kato, Vintage Macaroni, Corey from The World Is My Burrito, Nick Casbaro, the author of the Vitalarium series, and Botter from the Shortbox podcast are supporting us on that platform monthly in exchange for behind the scenes and early access to episodes like this one. The month of April is expected to be Patreon month, where you might have a hand in some of the movies that we watch and the games that we play on Twitch. So please make sure to join the community as soon as possible to be a part of that. But that won't be the only time this year. We've got a lot more surprises in store, and we appreciate you for listening, watching, or supporting. Anything that you do, it means the world. But this is the end of our episode. My name is Mr. Eric Almighty. That is my co-host, Phil the Filipino, and our guest, Evo. Please remember that we release new episodes on the podcast every Wednesday, and all you got to do is wait for it.
This is the Wait For It podcast.